Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are back with the half-scale NASCAR with its new engine out of a 1980 Honda CB750C, and in today's video we're just going to try and get as much as I can done. I'm kind of in a little bit of a time crunch right now, but in last video an overwhelming amount of you guys were telling me that my idea to, have the gearing will not work and the welds will not hold up. And before I begin, I just want to address, because some of you new viewers or whatever might not know this. Now, I'm not saying that all of you were, but some of you guys were like yelling at me or whatever and hating because I did this one thing wrong. I've never fabricated anything or done anything like this before, so there's no reason to really bring about hate because that's not going to do anything. And the idea that you guys were saying to do with the jack shaft, I already planned ahead and did that. I just wanted to try this first, and that's why at the end of the last video I asked of you guys if what I should do, if I should keep this or will it be fine how it is. Because as you guys remember, I did order 2 pillow blocks because I was going to do the jack shaft at first, but I thought this was a better idea, but I guess not. But I just wanted to clarify that real quick. So today we're going to be fixing this. So I didn't weld up this whole thing, obviously, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and it's a good thing I didn't because apparently it's not. So what I'm going to do is cut this all off, clean off all the welds and everything off of the shaft in the engine for the sprocket, and then put the old sprocket back on, which is honestly in fine shape. It's just a little bit rusty, but the teeth and everything are in pretty good shape. And then we'll take the new sprocket, move this shaft down, line up the 2 sprockets with each other, with the 2 pillow blocks and everything all mounted up, and then we'll figure out a way to put on this sprocket, which I asked you guys once again in the last video, and a lot of you guys were saying just to pull that bearing through, or at least try to, instead of trying to make this into a split sprocket by cutting it down the center and risking messing it up. And then we'll see what else we can get done today. I did order a carb rebuild kit, which hasn't come in the mail yet, but my new screw set did come in the mail, because definitely need some new screws on there. But anyway, let's get started. Alrighty, so I just finished up cleaning up the shaft that I made. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I lost the time lapse that I made for it. But basically, I just pried off that little flat bar that I put on it and put the grinder and the cutoff wheel and cut off all the fat welds and kind of just smoothened out everything. And that should be plenty fine enough to go through the pillow block. And then over here, sprocket is back on and spinning nicely. So now I'm going to begin thinking on how I should mount the pillow blocks and where exactly I want it. I'm hoping that this will be long enough. It actually might not be long enough. Alright, so after looking at it a little more, this is in fact too short to be the shaft, because with the size of the pillow blocks and it being fully in both pillow blocks, there won't be enough room for the sprocket on here and down here to, line up perfectly with each of the sprockets that are already on here. So I am going to have to cut a little bit of a longer piece. I'm going to measure it all, measure the pillow blocks just to make sure that I get it exactly where it needs to be. But then also I need to make sure that it's not too long and sticking out too far, or else it's going to protrude into the body and it won't fit over it right. But let's cut a new shaft right now. I guess I did all that for nothing, but I might be able to use this for something in the future. So right now I have the pillow block basically tacked down where I want it. But right now I need to run out to attend something. But when I get back, we can finish up, making the shaft and mounting the other pillow block, making sure that it spins completely circular, that it's not kind of wobbling around or anything like that. And then we can figure out a way to get that sprocket over there onto the axle. So I'll see you guys once I get back. Alrighty guys, so we are back here the next day, well the next night actually, the sun's already starting to go down, and just now, the carburetor rebuild kit for the engine just came in, so we're probably going to do that later on in the video, along with putting on all the new hardware and everything like that. But I want to finish this up. Well, not finish it up, because I do need to wait for the second sprocket, so I'm going to use this one for that one. And then I need to wait for the next sprocket to go from there to come into the mail. But as long as I could get this thing spinning nicely and the secondary pillow block all mounted up and ready to go, we should be all good. So right now, I do want to go ahead and finish up with this whole little shaft system and exactly where I want to mount it. And then we can move on to trying to get off that bearing and in order to get on the new sprocket. And then we'll see what time it is from there, because I do not want to make a lot of noise, you know, when it's laid out. Because cutting and welding at 10 o'clock, not ideal for the neighbors. But anyway, let's get back to work.
The next day.
So I just finished up basically welding up everything. I might weld the stuff, you know, a little bit more once it's all finalized, but the shaft is spinning super nicely and nice and like smooth, like it's not going on an angle or anything like that. And once the other sprocket comes, I can just loosen the little lock screws that this thing has on each bearing, slide it out. You know, it might take a little bit of tugging because it is pretty tight in there, but I could just do that real quick, slide it in, and it's done. So it's a pretty nice, like, quick release system. But now that we got this all good to go for now, I want to go into the part that I've been dreading this whole time, and that is trying to pull off that bearing. I know it's not going to be easy, because I'm sure the last time the bearings were off was when this thing was built. I might need to put some heat to it or something. I don't know, I hope I don't. I hope I can just hit it, which I know won't happen, but everybody say a prayer for me, and let's just see how hard this is to take off. Alrighty, so right off the bat, what I'm gonna have to do is take out the engine mount and just push this engine out of the way, either forward or backwards. Probably just gonna go forward because it's top heavy, because I cannot lift up this axle because it is hitting the bottom of the engine. And the reason I need to pick it up is to get it over this bracket so I can try and get out the bearing and pull it out this way so I can get the sprocket behind it. I tried hitting it with the rubber mallet going that way, and I think it actually moved a little bit. I tried lubing it up a little bit, and honestly, I think it might come out. Let's just see if pushing this forward engine will give me enough room to get the bearing over the bracket. I gotta make sure that, you know, it doesn't yank on the wiring harness, or the wiring harness doesn't get too tight, because some of the stuff is mounted to the engine. I might actually just take out the whole engine. Alrighty guys, so I've been going at this for a while, and I was just going to pull out the engine. I already took apart the wiring harness here that's attached to the engine. But right now I'm doing something kind of sketchy, and I'm just having the engine jacked up on both sides, and I'm trying to get this thing off, and it is almost up. The bottom one is completely out of it, but just the sides, and I'm considering just cutting off half of it, half there, and then just re-welding it once it's back on. But I'm going to try and get this engine a little bit higher up and see if I can just pull through. Alright, so I have the bracket to its highest possible point. These little set screws up here were hitting the bottom of this and holding it up, but right now it's the highest it's going to get. It's hitting the bottom of the engine mount. So what I'm just going to have to do is ever so slightly slice off half of this, and then I should be able to get it out. And then once I'm done with everything, I can just weld that back on. It should be a big deal. So remember how I said that I was considering taking out the engine? Well, it's out. Just taking out would just make everything that I need to do so much easier, like with working with this axle. Taking out that sprocket and putting in the new one, and if I need to weld it, it'll just be much easier. So I'm definitely happier that I did this. So now that the engine's out and we have so much more working room, let's get back to work. Alright, so I just finished taking off the split sprocket, and I just went to pull off the bearing, and check this out. Well, it's gonna take, 2 hands, but it's coming off. I'm super happy about that. I thought it was gonna be a nightmare, but turns out, wasn't. Oh, okay. Sweet. So right as I was about to claim victory, we run into an issue, and that is this screw right here that keeps the rotor in place. It's stripped. So that kind of ruined my whole plan of sliding this down so I can slide it out, and then the end of this would be inside of here so I can just slide it in, put it back, and everything would be perfect. So that hinders everything a ton. So right now, before I just went and loosened this one, luckily it didn't strip, everything was fine on this, and this is one of the sprocket brackets. And I'm gonna try and move it this way as far as possible. And then I'm gonna see if I can slide this as much as I can until it hits this, and then see when I put the bracket on the inside of here, if it will be enough for that end to come inside of here. It probably won't, but I'm just gonna give it a shot and see how close it's gonna be. Oh man, this is a real headache. Alright, so that didn't work. When this hits that, it's not enough to bring that end inside, but I have a new plan. And this one will work. So what I'm gonna do is on the rotor mount, the top of it is just barely not enough. I mean, it is just barely missing of clearancing under that engine mount. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this back, cut off a little tiny sliver on top of this little mount. It won't affect the way that the rotor sits on here at all. It's just a very, small part in this little crevice right here. And then once I do that, I can slide this back even more. This side will be inside, and then I can take that end, put it under the cart so I can pull that side inside. And then once this end is inside of here, I can put on the sprocket. I put it back to how they were in the mounts. If that made any sense whatsoever. But I really think that this will work. Oh, finally. So, it's finally cut. I don't know if I've ever sweat this much in my life. I don't know why. Actually, I do. It's 90 degrees out. But if this doesn't work, then I would be super bummed, because I don't know how fast that time lapse was, but that took forever. But let's just see. Wait. What was I thinking? I do not know what I was thinking. So, I don't know why I thought that if I cut the very top, somehow this could go under. Meanwhile, there's still a whole entire brake rotor that's in the way. Oh, wait a minute. I realize now why it works. I'm getting delusional. It is so hot in here. I'm gonna take off the brake rotor with all these bolts around here, and then I'll be able to slide the bracket underneath here. Okay, that makes much more sense. Oh my god. So let's pull off that rotor now. Oh, I cannot wait until the sprocket is on. Alright, so I'll show you guys basically my whole plan in action. Sorry if the lighting is all kind of weird, the sun is glaring in. But the brake rotor is in fact off, and now, so it's not going to go under normally, but with the piece we cut, it goes under. So now I just need to slide this back a little bit more. This side will be in, and we will be cruising. Yep. Okay, so now this can go under here. Take out the whole rotor. Alright, so now I need to go back with the sprocket bracket so I can bring this side in more, and then it will be on. It's like a puzzle just going back and forth, but I'm figuring out a way to get around these engine mounts, and it is working, slowly but surely. Oh, thank God. We are finally through, and now I'm going to show you all what we've been working on for literally the entire day today. Oh wait, hold on. I still need to hammer it more. Oh my god, we are on. Now I need to hammer this thing all the way back and get the other axle in. well, the other side of the axle in. I am just pumped right now. Might not see me because I've literally been doing this all day. Like, the sun is beginning to go down. I started at like 9:15 a.m. this morning. Obviously, I had to take some breaks in between, you know, charge up batteries and everything like that, drink waters and stuff like that. But finally paid off. So I have the axle resting in its little bracket holes. I'm just going to slide on that bearing. I'm not going to bother recording it. Should take pretty quick. But then I think I'm going to end it off here for working on this, because I'm going to look at some brake systems for this, because we're going to need some really, really good brakes in order to stop this thing. Now, these brakes are pretty decent on it, but they are pretty old and everything like that. Or I might just get a new rotor and brake pads. So I might as well just do it now while it's off. And like I've been saying since the beginning of this build, I'm not going to rush this. I'm not going to try and bother cranking out stuff just to get a video and then have to take, you know, 2 steps back, because I need to take it all apart to do brakes. I'm going to take it nice and easy. Now, I do wish I could get done a ton more stuff in the video, but with a build, you know, you always got to be waiting for parts, and it just takes a lot of time. I'm gonna call this a wrap for now and go ahead and switch over to the carburetor. I gotta clean off my workbench. That is a mess, but I'm gonna switch over to the carburetors and rebuild these things. So I'm gonna take off all the bowls and everything inside of them, and just totally replace it. Probably clean it out a little bit too if it is dirty, and hopefully that makes those function even better. Alrighty guys, so I just finished up putting in the new parts into the carburetor. Now I didn't put in all of them because I was able to clear out all of them that, you know, were still in there, and they still seem pretty good. But the jets, on the other hand, are another story. The jetting on all of the carburetors were all messed up. Like, there were main jets and idler jets. It was just a nightmare, but this should work perfectly, and thank God I got the new hardware, because this carburetor would never be back together with the screws I had in there, for sure. Like, there were self-tappers in there, that's how bad it was. But anyway guys, I need to end the video here. I need to run out someplace right now. I'm running late. Next video with the Half Scout NASCAR should be finishing up the gearing fully. Once again, just gonna wait for that last sprocket to come. Then we can put all the chains together, put the engine back in. We can do the shifting and everything like that, and probably start it up with the new carbs. But then I also think it's time to go to the track with the RM, and maybe even the Kawasaki KLX 125, because that's a fun bike to ride around. But comment down below if you guys want me to go. I think I might go soon, and within the next couple of days, so maybe next video will be at the track. But anyway guys, follow my social medias. That will be in the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about the channel.